This is a message to my Prime Minister. Beautiful speaking can't run government.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I watched the conference on Sunday in two capacities. First, I watched as the General Secretary of the People's National Party. And of course, I watched in my capacity as the spokesperson for agriculture, fisheries, and rural development. And I will have some remarks in both capacities. One of the truest measures to determine good management of production and supply of any crop is the relative stability of prices on a weekly and monthly basis within any given year. The government's management of a flagship program to reduce onion imports through its import substitution initiative provides the clearest indicator of its management inability. Minister Green speaks glibly about the establishment of storage facilities, and yet farmers suffered losses earlier this year when production exceeded the monthly requirement of 850,000 kilograms. And they had no appropriate storage facilities, prices were depressed, and inadequate storage facilities resulted in crop deterioration and resultant losses. Recall the cries of the farmers in his constituency of Southwest St. Elizabeth that had to discard of their onions. The supply management of onions has had a significant impact on the consuming public. Recall the lamentations of the consuming public last year and the year before when prices unbelievably reached over $1,000 per kilogram. This should not happen with the application of good management. The total consumption on a yearly basis is known, so it's relatively easy to determine the quantity to be imported without displacing whatever local production exists at any given time in the production cycle. Over the last 5 years, 2019 to 2023, the average annual prices moved from $448 per kilogram to $740 per kilogram, an increase of 65%, or an average yearly increase of 13%, which is way above the annual inflation rate. This can neither be good stewardship of a flagship program nor purposeful management of the variables that affect the average consumers. The management of imported supplies was equally inadequate. The price of imported onions moved from an annual average of $468 per kilogram in 2019 to $783 in 2023, an outturn of 67% over the period and a yearly average of 13.5%. Again, significantly above the annual inflation rate. This cannot be good management and exposes Minister Green's assertion of a build-out of appropriate facilities is hollow. Another product falling under the flagship import substitution program has had no better management. In 2014, the past PNP administration was able to achieve 90% production of Irish potatoes. And now the JLP has reversed those achievements to levels below 70%. In 2023, 6,852 kilograms of Irish potatoes was imported, representing a 43% increase over 2022 figure of 4.7 million. This requires a special audit to determine why the efforts of the ministry are failing rather than providing the expected results. When we look at polling in the country, one of the topical issues is cost of living. The hollowed attempts that were made on Sunday does not address the cost of living crisis. If you were to go to Megamart, a pound of lettuce, $814. A pound of cabbage, $380. A pound of Irish, $400. A pound of carrots, $550. A pound of red pepper, $900. A pound of sweet pepper, $600. I was tempted today to bring a basket to repeat what the Prime Minister did when he said what could hold in a basket for $10,000. But when I checked, the price of the basket was more than the $10,000, so I aborted the mission. When I look at what my electricity bill is, my bill came to $15,500. I look at how much GCT I'm paying, and it is $993. The 53% saving that I will get on a monthly basis is $547 Jamaican for the month. $547 Jamaican. It is the same as a pound of carrot at Losushan. 1 pound of carrot is what the government is offering to me as a productive citizen, as an attempt to say that they are cushioning the crisis. Agriculture currently only contributes about 9% of the gross domestic product, even though agriculture employs over 250,000 persons are registered as farmers. It is the largest employer of labor, but it is not making the commensurate contribution to the gross domestic product of the country. We have had an increase in our food importation bill. In 2016, when this government took office, food importation was at $838 million US. Last year, it went up to $1.4 billion US, an increase of 75% under this administration. What they're doing is that they're importing more, they're producing less. By any metric, the Minister of Agriculture may be very good at promoting parties, but when it comes on to agriculture, he is a failure. If you want to say you like him, then say that. But an assessment of his stewardship in agriculture is that of failure. The agro-parks, go and visit. I am sure investigative journalism is not dead. Go and visit any agro-park you would like, and you will find idle lands inside of those agro-parks. You understand why production is down. He spoke about putting land titles into the hands of persons. This administration has taken some of the most arable lands with the infrastructure in Bernard Lodge and given it for housing purposes. They have caused less arable lands to be under production by their own doing. In relation to irrigation, only 12% of the arable lands in Jamaica currently have irrigation. He speaks about the irrigation project in St. Elizabeth, which is not a brainchild of his. I suspect that he's trying to be like the Prime Minister and try to father a road that he did not conceive when they named the highway after former Prime Minister Edward Seaga, even though he opposed its construction. It is in keeping with their nature. After 9 years and 8 members of parliament being investigated for illicit enrichment, they now say to the public, it is your turn. An admission that the first 2 terms were for them and their cronies. The Prime Minister says his MPs are not performing after 300% increase, and now they want to say, give them another term. What can go so? Term limits. This Prime Minister lobbied for 2 terms as the limit for a Prime Minister. Now he's campaigning for a 3rd term. We will not have it. 9 years of bad roads. This government cut out the road maintenance fund. So when you drive on any road in Jamaica, you see cars on the side. They're not just parked there. They've suffered damage to their cars. Punctures. I myself had 2 punctures on one side of the vehicle in Holland Bamboo. The roads in Jamaica, as admitted by all of the speakers at the Labour Party conference, they are in a terrible condition. And so I finish with the words of the chairman of the Labour Party. They inside the JLP know that time come for change. Thank you very much.
Loyal viewers and subscribers, honorable people, give thanks for your support to the AVI-NUE. Know that I appreciate you sincerely. New viewers, welcome on board. Know that your presence is appreciated. Please subscribe to the channel and help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Thank you. United we win.